Carolina got all sorts of backwards last year in non-con play. It's critical they turn that around. That means it's time for the official Isaac Schade top 5 most important non-conference games.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Monday, August 25th, 2025. This time next week, it'll be game day. Let's go. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you for making us your first listener watch to get your Monday going the right way. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets right now. Special shout out to the everydayers here with us, all the great members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord and our insiders as well. So good to have you all here on a brand new week. I tell you what, I said it just a second ago, football game 1 week from today, I'm getting butterflies. I'm so curious to see what this team's going to be. I know you are too. It's going to be great. We'll have live postcast after that. Yes, even on a work night. The non-conference schedule last season, coming up on the show today, by the way, I guess I should say, last year, the non-con was where Carolina really got messed up and got off on the wrong foot. They got to turn that around. I'm going to rank for you the top 5 most important non-conference games. Segment 2, we're going to look at bold predictions ahead of the Carolina football season with a wrinkle. I'll tell you about that coming up. And finally, Hulu and Carolina have officially now announced, at least Bill Belichick officially announced it to the team, that there's going to be a documentary about this season, and this is great for the football team and the athletics department as a whole, plus the weekend whip around. We had multiple sports in action this weekend. So let's start with this non-conference conversation I said we're going to have. Last year, Carolina played 12 non-conference games, and they went a whopping 7-5. I don't know if you remember that it was that bad, but I'm telling you, it was. Let me remind you of what all it was. Carolina started by beating Elon, went to Kansas and lost, then beat American, beat Hawaii on the way out to Maui, beat Dayton, and then lost to Auburn and Michigan State to wrap up Maui, including that OT loss to Michigan State. Lost to Alabama at home as part of the ACC-SEC challenge. They were 4-4 at that point. Then there was an ACC game. Then they beat LaSalle on Saturday, December 14th. Lost to Florida in Charlotte as part of Jumpman. Then beat UCLA in the CBS Sports Classic, and then beat Campbell at home to wrap the non-con schedule. So they were 7-5. Only wins were Elon, American, Hawaii, Dayton, and LaSalle, and UCLA, I guess, and Campbell. Sorry, I left those two off there at the end. Losses to Kansas, Auburn, Michigan State, Alabama, and Florida. All of that to say, many of those games could have gone the other way, good or bad. Remember, massive comebacks that fell short against Kansas, against Michigan State, against Florida. Massive comeback wins against Dayton and UCLA. Very simply put, the Tar Heels have to be better in non-conference play this year. The schedule does line up to be a little bit easier, but there are some very tough games as part of it. Why? Because these games, these 13 games are going to set the tone for ACC play, right? You feel wildly, let's say last year, Carolina was 7-5. Let's say they were even 10-2. That's a lot. Let's say 9-3. You feel completely different going into non-conference play than at 7-5. So these games set the tone for ACC play, for NCAA tournament seeding, because your resume is being built at this point already. It sets the tone for where the net is going to think that you are, all of that kind of stuff. And so Carolina has to take advantage of this more manageable schedule and do it well. And so here's what I'm going to do for you, because obviously there's a bunch of bye games and Carolina should emphasis, win all of those. But the question is, how are they going to perform in the high major games? There are multiple of them. I want to rank for you what I believe are the 5 most important games of the non-conference portion of the schedule. We're going to take it from 5 to 1 being the most important. Let me run you through the entirety of the non-con schedule, and then I will give you my rankings. Carolina, remember, starts at BYU with an exhibition. I say at BYU. It's technically in the Delta Center where the Jazz play. Then they host Winston-Salem State in an exhibition. Central Arkansas is the first game of the regular season. That's Monday, November 3rd. They host Kansas, Radford, NC Central, Navy. Kick off the Fort Myers Invitational against St. Bonaventure that's Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. Michigan State on Thanksgiving Day. Then they're at Kentucky for the ACC SEC Challenge, hosting Georgetown in the first of a home and home. They'll play at Georgetown next year. USC upstate ETSU. Ohio State down in Atlanta for the CBS Sports Classic, and then wrapping up the ACC schedule with the non-conference schedule with ECU. So that's the entirety of it. All 13 games plus the 2 exhibitions. Here's the 5 most important that you need to know about that Carolina needs to handle. I mean, honestly, I hope they go 13-0, right? But these are the 5 critical games and why I think. Number 5, Ohio State in the CBS Sports Classic. Keep in mind, the CBS Sports Classic has always been Carolina, Ohio State, and UCLA and Kentucky. This year, UCLA is pulling out because of the Big Ten travel schedule. And taking their place is St. John's and Rick Pitino, who will be playing his former school, Kentucky. Imagine in the second game of that. So Carolina, Ohio State, understandably, is the undercard in this thing. And I get that. We all understand the deal. But there will be a ton of eyeballs. This thing's going to be down in Atlanta. Man, if it was at Madison Square Garden, Kentucky and St. John's, that'd be insane. But this one's back down in Atlanta. But with Carolina and Ohio State being the lead-in to the title bout or whatever you want, the main event, there's still going to be a lot of eyeballs on it. So a great chance to prove who you are and do very well against Ohio State. Also, keep in mind, from a Carolina standpoint, the December Saturdays are always electric, like the whole national schedule of it. But this is the only one, Saturday, December 20th, for Carolina that's really, really good. The weekend before, they play USC upstate, which is and then the first December weekend, they don't play on Saturday, they play Sunday, and that's against Georgetown, which again is a high major team. It's Big East, but still, it's not as sexy as Ohio State. Another reason this is a critically important game in the non-con schedule is this Ohio State is the last high major opponent they're going to play in the non-con before entering into ACC play. So a good opportunity to play a high major opponent before ACC kicks off. Ohio State, to me, looks talented but beatable this year. And because of that, it could be a decently easier quad 1 opportunity. It's on a neutral, so they've got to be top 50. But if Carolina could get that win, I mean, at worst, this is going to be a quad 2 game. But would love for Ohio State to be top 50. Would love for Carolina to get that win and set things up. So all of those are reasons why I have this as the 5th most important non-con game. Number 4, Michigan State on Thanksgiving Day at the Fort Myers tip-off. Let's just start with one of the same reasons I said about Ohio State. This is another eyeballs game. It's on Thanksgiving, and it's going to be following the Lions-Packers game, which kicks off at 1 p.m. Central. I imagine similar to Illinois following the Bears game on Thanksgiving Day last year. I think it was Illinois-Arkansas, if I remember correctly. Carolina's playing Michigan State from Michigan right after the Lions game. People are going to stick around, tune in, just Lions, Packers. A lot of people will go to other NFL games, but a lot of people in Michigan are going to stick with this thing. And so there's going to be a ton of eyeballs on it. Again, it's Thanksgiving Day. Number 2, why Michigan State is right up here in this top 5. This is a revenge game from last year. Remember, Elliott Cadeau nearly hit that layup to give Carolina a win in overtime. Michigan State would have had a little bit of time, but whatever. And so some revenge. Now, remember, Carolina had beaten them the year before in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Another kind of comeback game, oh, by the way. And with Michigan State, look, anytime you can beat a Tom Izzo team, you feel good about yourself because they're tough, they're hard-nosed, they're ready to go, always well coached. And so anytime you can beat Michigan State, you're like, yeah, we did something there, right? Like that matters. And then yet again, similar to Ohio State, this should be another good quad one opportunity on neutral. I feel better about Michigan State being top 50 than I do Ohio State, but still both of them should be, and these being both quad one opportunities. Number 3 on our list. I'm cheating a little bit here. I recognize that, but it's the exhibition game at BYU. So cheating, maybe, but so what? This is my list and I can do what I want. This game, oh, by the way, is less than 2 months away. It was 2 months from yesterday, Sunday, August 24th. The game is actually Friday, October 24th. This is going to be a great opportunity on the road against a team that many people think will be a top 5 team this season, at worst top 10. And so Carolina, similar to what they did with Memphis last year, has a chance to go in and really prove their mettle. And yes, I know it's a game that doesn't count at all, but you know what it does? If you win this game, you prove something to yourself, you prove something to the nation, and then you're kind of setting yourself up to come into the season feeling a lot better. So it's a great opportunity. 2 of the elite freshmen in the nation in BYU's AJ Debantza and North Carolina's Caleb Wilson. Should be a lot of fun there. They've got some other returning talent, including Rob Wright coming over from Baylor to be their point guard. Can't wait to see it. And again, it's not a true road game because it's not at BYU. It's where the Jazz play, but road game-ish, road game light, if you'll allow me that. Number 2. And there are 2 games left, and you're probably wondering which is going to be which. And I think I probably have them backwards from what you might imagine I do. And here's why. The number 2 game on this list is the game at Kentucky at Rupp Arena. The main reason I went with this one number 2 instead of number 1 is because this game is on the road, so you're kind of playing with house money. Remember I said it's the top 5 most important games? If this game was at home, I think it would be more important. But when you go on the road, especially to what is expected to be a top flight Kentucky team, you're expected to lose. Kentucky is going to be favored in this game, and they probably should be. And so, again, you're playing with house money. And so that's why I think the next game that's going to be number 1 is actually more important because it's at home. But it is a critically important game, this one at Kentucky is, from a standpoint of, if Carolina could get this win, it's going to be considered one of the singularly biggest wins of the entire non-con slate, top 5 at worst, for anyone, anywhere, and was going to carry a lot of resume weight too if Carolina could get it. I don't know if they will, but if they do, people are going to look at this. We will be talking about, like, if Carolina gets this win, we will talk about it on Selection Sunday. I guarantee you that. This is a guaranteed quad 1 game. Kentucky will be top 75 or whatever you got to be on the road. And another reason this is an important game, Carolina has not fared well lately against Kentucky. Yes, there's the Luke May game, but Carolina has lost 2 in a row, 3 of 4 and 5 of 7 to the Cats. They got to fix that. Haven't won at Rupp since December 1st of 2007. Good grief. Now, there's not been a lot of chances, but still, this is a critically important game. And that brings us to number 1. And you would probably guess it now that I've revealed the rest of them. Number 1 most important non-con game for me is the home game against Kansas on the first Friday of the regular season. Now, the reason I hesitated with this is because I think Kansas is not going to be as good as Kentucky or BYU or Michigan State. Debatable with Ohio State. So Kansas might actually be the quote unquote relative worst team on this list of 5. I recognize that. But here's why I have it number 1. It's Kansas, for crying out loud. The Jayhawks are coming to the Dean Dome. That is blue, just like Carolina going to Kentucky, man. That's blue blood. That's college basketball royalty. It's going to be massive. Second, this is the second game of the season. Carolina will have just played their first game hosting Central Arkansas, and then you get Kansas coming in that Friday night. This is an opportunity similar to what I said about the exhibition at BYU, to set the tone right out of the gate. Do you remember last year, Carolina lost that game at Kansas, and you just felt right away like, Is this what this season's going to be? And it was so many disappointing first halves and disappointing holes that Carolina had to dig out of. And if Carolina could write a different script right out of the gate this year, boy, that would be better. So what a great way to start, but critically important, though, to get it. And that's why I have it number one. It's a revenge game from last year from that loss. It's a first game. I mean, Carolina has struggled against Kansas in recent years. And so this is a big opportunity to switch that narrative, similar to what I said about Kentucky. This is probably a Q1 game, but a little bit questionable because Kansas will have to be top 30 in order for it to be that. But again, similar to what I said about the BYU game speaking volumes to the nation in an exhibition format, getting this win would speak volumes to the nation, especially if it's any sort of comfortable win by more than one or two possessions, definitely. And I think here's the other thing that I'll say too. Because it's right out of the gate, because it's your first high major opponent, because it's Kansas and Bill Self, this is an opportunity to build confidence for this team. I started this segment talking about how the non-con is where it all went wrong last year, and it started with this game, this Kansas game on the first Friday night of the season. So guess what? Winning this game could be a way to start it right out of the gate. Time for a new narrative, and that starts with beating Kansas, and that's why I have it number one. There you go. The Isaac Schade top 5 most important games of the non-con schedule. Now, the first football game is a week away, and it's time for some bold predictions coming at you, courtesy of you guys. I'll explain in just a second. Right after I tell you about Rougiette. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Ready, a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control for when the moment is right. Maybe traditional options haven't worked. Well, if so, Rougiette might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. It's completely online. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. So head on over to rougiette.com/lockedoncollege and use code lockedoncollege to get 15% off today. Again, that's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege and use promo code lockedoncollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information. As we get to our football bold takes, I want to ask for your help. We have an important request from the whole Locked On network. We want to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about you, our listeners, and our viewers, and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Or if you're watching on YouTube, there's a little QR code down there you can scan. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey or scan the QR code. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. Okay, bold takes ahead, 1 week out from the college football season starting for the Tar Heels. My original plan was to give you some of my bold takes, but I thought it would be more fun to get bold takes from you all. And then I'm going to evaluate your bold takes on how bold they are. I'm going to rank them 1 to 10. 1 being, I could walk out on the field and do that. And 10 being, that's bananas. There's no way that's going to happen. That's what a bold take is meant to be. So here we go. I'm going to start with some bold takes from our Locked On Tar Heels insiders, because one of the perks of being an insider is that you always get priority in moments like this. You want to get in on that, have one-on-one conversations with me, first dibs on stuff like that, free access to all of my stats, my charts, my data, record books, all of that. Join the Locked On Tar Heels insiders. That link is in the show notes. All right. Our first bold prediction comes from our guy, Doug Nadler, one of our insiders. And this is clearly and obviously the singularly best bold prediction of the entire show. You ready for it? Here we go from Doug. There will be 10 or more shots of Jordan Hudson in the suite or booth next Monday night. Here's the truth of the matter, Doug. This is not bold because it's going to be like 20 or more shots of Jordan Hudson. So I'm going to give this one a 2. No, I'm joking as you're joking, but legitimately, I think it's going to be a ton. They're going to show her a lot. It's going to be a storyline. It's just part of the deal, as it's been all offseason. But Doug did give 2 other serious football takes as well. One of which is that Carolina will have 2+ wins because of special teams play. I really like this, Doug. One, you know Bill Belichick. He's not going to assume an inch or an ounce of anything. If he can gain an advantage on offense or defense or the forgotten special teams, he will absolutely do so. Now, 2+ wins because of that is very bold. I want to give this one a 9 from Doug. I mean, this is really good stuff here. And if that happened, I would, Doug, what a Nostradamus you would be, but man, like, would be phenomenal. So I like that one from Doug. And the third, Doug had another one here. Carolina will have a top 3 defense in the ACC. I tell you what, that would be phenomenal. It would be a very quick turnaround. It honestly seems like some of Carolina's best playmakers are on that side of the ball this year, which has not been the case, as you well know, as in the last several years, really probably the whole Mac Brown 2.0 era. And so I like it being top 3 because to say the top defense in the ACC would be, 11 on my 1 to 10 scale. So this is really good from Doug. I'm going to give that an 8 because I think it falls just shy of the wackiness of 2+ special teams aided wins. But I really like that's a good bold prediction, Doug. Top 3 defense in the ACC. Boy, that would put Carolina in great shape. Next bold prediction comes from another insider, Taft Flowers. Taft says, and it's in similar vein to Doug's last one there. He says, my bold prediction is 9 wins. I think that the defense will be a real problem. I think the running game will be the strength, but passing will be good as well. We'll have more record predictions on win totals. I'm going to say that 9 wins is a 6. And the reason I don't put it higher is because we've got some other more outlandish win totals numbers. Man, 9 would be great for the Tar Heels. We'll see. The defense will be a real problem. You and Doug, man, from your lips to God's ears, hopefully that is true. And then I think the running game will be the strength, agreed, but passing will be good as well. There you go from Taft. And that passing game leads into Connor Schoaf's. Connor is our last insider bold prediction, and I like this one from Connor a lot. He says, Jordan Shipp will be first team All-ACC. Ooh, this is spicy here from Connor. Okay, I like it because I believe Jordan is going to have a breakout year. It's funny that Jordan Shipp is not the first Jordan mentioned in this segment. Oh, by the way, the question is, will they go to him a lot? Will they be able to get it to him a lot? Will the running game open it up for him? Man, first teammate All-ACC. And then you think about the other receivers out there as well. Connor, this is good, man. I'm going to give this a 9 up there with Doug's 2+ wins because of special teams play. Jordan Shipp, first team All-ACC. Let's get that. You combine that with the top 3 defense, and that's something. All right, let's go to some Discord bold takes. This first one comes from Dean Got a Bean, and he says, my bold prediction is that we'll end up having 3 different QBs start games by the end of the year. Oh boy, I am having flashbacks to last season, and I don't like it. And I pray to everything holy that Dean Got a Bean is wrong here. I might give this one a 10 because I cannot fathom that in back-to-back seasons. You got to imagine that's going to mean like maybe Gio is QB1 to start. Max Johnson takes over because Gio is either hurt or ineffective. And then maybe Max maybe the re-injury or something. And then Bryce Baker time, he steps in. It feels like that would be the narrative there. Dear goodness, please don't let any of that be true. I like it. Matt Z, bringing a bold prediction from down under. What's up, Matt? Hopefully you are sleeping right now because you're completely different timeline than us. But this comes from Discord, and Matt Z says, quote, a defensive lineman will get a big 6. I like not calling it a pick 6, but a big 6 because it could be a fumble recovery and score. It could be a pick. Man, I always love the lineman interceptions when they're just standing there and it's just like, oh, look what I found. And then they rumble on in. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Matt, I like this one. I'm going to give it an 8 on your bold predictions. Defensive lineman getting a big 6. And then we had a whole slew of like record predictions, records, bold takes from Veesaar. Tar Heels will make the CFB playoffs. That's probably got to be a 10 up there with the 3 different starting quarterbacks, because that would be wild in this first season. I mean, look, with the schedule that's in front of Carolina, it could very well happen. T-Man, my bold take is that UNC goes 11-1 with a win versus Clemson, makes it to the ACC championship against Georgia Tech, another bold prediction, and wins to go to the playoffs. So T-Man, I got to give you a 10 then too, the CFB playoffs thing with Vichy there. That's crazy. Our guy Whitaker says, I can totally see this team winning 10 games given the schedule. And then went on to say in some other, as conversation went on, didn't say it was likely, but it is definitely entirely possible. Well, you know what, Whitaker? That's why it's a bold prediction. So you're doing it right, because it ain't likely. That's what bold predictions are meant to be. I like this point from Whitaker. He says the TCU game looms large. I think it's like 1 or 2 of maybe one, excuse me, I messed that all up. I think it's 1 of 2 or 3 games we won't find ourselves favored in. I don't think we have a realistic shot at beating Clemson, but that's the only game on the schedule. That's kind of where I was at, where I was going to go with a bold prediction. Wit is 11-1 with the loss being Clemson and going undefeated the rest of the way in ACC play. Wit, let's give yours an 8 for the 10-game schedule bold prediction. Reservoir Dogs. A bold take is that UNC goes undefeated in ACC play. The Tar Heels have a really favorable schedule, and if Clemson isn't as good as expected, that's a possibility. No, we haven't been talking about that. Then we theoretically could go undefeated if Clemson has a down game against UNC in Chapel Hill. Let's give that one. That didn't go playoff level, so let's go 9 for Reservoir Dogs there. Very interesting, and obviously we'll see what happens in non-con play as well. And then the last one, Dante Fan. Heels go undefeated. I don't think there is a single team we can't beat. So let's give that a 9 as well. You guys, that's so fun. Thank you for all your bold predictions. I love it when we get engagement back and forth and I get to interact with your stuff. I love all the bold takes on the record. Seriously, we got to count the Jordan Hudson camera cuts. Somebody needs to do that and then get back to us and see if Doug's 10 or more is correct. All right. Speaking of Carolina football and Jordan Hudson, the Tar Heels have finally announced the Hulu documentary, and I love it. This, to me, is great news for Carolina. Why? Because you're either on a documentary or you're jealous of the team that is and wishing you were. We'll talk about this to wrap the show coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Take a flyer on the MVP race. How about some Drake May love? Why not? He's a Patriot, but he's a Tar Heel, baby. Crown your champ in August. Why not take the Eagles to run it back, go back-to-back? That'd be kind of crazy. The Ravens, and the Bills have the best odds at FanDuel. Maybe you want to pick all 8 division winners, parlay that together. That'd be fun to see if that could ride. Check any of these out and more. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day, tomorrow, and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. On Sunday, the Carolina football Twitter account, and probably other social media accounts as well, but that was the one I saw it on first, officially put out Bill Belichick talking to the team about the Hulu documentary to come this fall. We'll talk details in a second. Here's the take. Love it or hate it, this is great exposure for Carolina football. The ultimate version of there is no bad press. This thing, already it's going to be dissected and cut up, and people are going to give Carolina a hard time. And there's going to be all sorts of people there hate watching it, people there wanting to see the Bill Belichick spectacle, all sorts, whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. Carolina is continuing to get national coverage at a crazy and unprecedented level that we didn't even see in Mac Brown 2.0. And yes, love it or hate it, because of Bill Belichick. Carolina football is everywhere. It's all over ESPN. It's the Labor Day game. They're going to be there that day for the show. Everybody wants a part of Carolina football, and everybody wants to be a part of Carolina football. It's that thing when it's like a handsome guy, and it's like all the girls want to be with him and all the guys want to be him. It's that kind of thing right now going on. And the take for me, the way I've been thinking of it in that similar vein, is you can either be the team that has a documentary about you, or you can be wishing you were the team that has a documentary about you. You can be the team that has a documentary about you, or you can be jealous of the one that does. And thankfully for the Tar Heel family, this is the team that has the documentary. And so, NC State is like, whatever, right? I don't care. Let them talk. They're going to watch it. Hate it or love it, again, they're going to watch it. I'm going to keep using that refrain. And beyond just the people paying attention to Carolina football, like, think about the recruiting of this. All these high school recruits, all of these potential transfers, right? Everybody's a potential transfer right now. Think about all of them watching Bill Belichick do what Bill Belichick does and saying, I want to go play for that man and all his Super Bowl rings, right? That is awesome. Bring it on. All of that noise. And to be honest, Carolina's already killing it on the recruiting trail. This just ups the ante another level. So Coach Belichick talks to the team about the why and all that. Great. And it's funny because remember back in February, there was talk that it was going to be on Hard Knocks. The rumor was that Jordan Hudson nixed that, or at least helped nix that. And then the Hulu rumor came out in mid-July, and now Coach is sharing it with the team. And, they say, hey, more information to come. It's going to be on Hulu this fall. That's the whole deal. I don't even know the first thing about what the content is going to be. But this is great for Carolina football. All right, let's get some weekend whip around action. The big action of the weekend was soccer for both teams. If you watched Friday's show, you know that the women were playing as I recorded. They were in a weather delay. They were losing, and they did lose at Georgia 2-0. That was Thursday. And then Sunday, they followed that up with a win at home over Rice 4-0, knocking them off. The Tar Heels are 2-2 on the season now. Both losses are their only two matches against high major opponents, so got to get some things cleaned up. Look, that's the beginning of the season. That's what happens sometimes. The guys played their first two matches of the young season. They beat UCF 3-1 on Thursday, and then they beat Seattle coming from behind to win 2-1 on Sunday. Field hockey hasn't started yet. Their first regular season action is this Friday against Michigan. Volleyball, same thing. They play Winthrop on Wednesday in an exhibition, and then Saturday they start their regular season against Maryland. So it's all coming, you guys. It's going to be great. Much more football coming up this week, much more basketball stuff. We move into the juniors with our roster preview series. We're doing Kyan Evans. Josh Marlowe is going to be with me for that. It's going to be great. Thanks for joining me on a Monday to kick off your week. If you haven't subscribed to the show on video and audio, do it right now. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is right down there in the corner. If you're listening, find the way to subscribe to it on your favorite audio podcast platform. If you want to join the Discord channel, that link's in the show notes, as is the link for the Insiders program we talked about earlier. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.